Hey everyone, it's John here from Hot Take Hockey, back with another video, and this video is going to be my 2021 Toronto Maple Leafs lineup prediction. I know it's considered the 2020-2021 season, but we know it's happening in 2021. And this will be my lineup prediction for the Leafs, forward group, defense, goaltending, and just what the overall roster could look like. Power play, penalty kill. We know that there could be kind of a taxi squad, so extra players on that roster. So we're going to go through it. Of course, if you are new, welcome to the channel. Please smash the like button. Let me know if you like this content, if you like lineup predictions, if you want me to go through all the teams. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So the forwards. I obviously think there's a few combinations, but this is what I would love to see. I think we have seen and many times Matthews and Marner play great together. I think obviously in a more organized sense, Marner sometimes plays better with Tavares, but I think that kind of flair, that exciting factor is with Matthews and Marner, and then Hyman on that top line. I actually want to see Kerfoot on one of the top two lines at some point in the season, whether you start with Kerfoot in the top six. I just think now that you got Thornton, you have the opportunity of putting Thornton as the third line center and getting Kerfoot on the wing, whether he's on the second line, third line. So I think Kerfoot, Tavares, Nylander could be a great line, and it could actually spark Kerfoot to start scoring some more goals. So that could be a great top six, a really stacked top six for the Leafs. And then you have a third line of Robertson, Thornton, McKayev. I think you have that size aspect with Thornton and McKayev. You're not going to catch Robertson getting thrown around. And Robertson maybe getting a couple setups from Thornton there. And I obviously think McKayev could be on the line with Tavares and Marner. And that's why I think there's a bunch of combinations. So if I could switch it up, maybe it's Hyman, Matthews, Nylander, Marner, Tavares, McKayev, Kerfoot, Thornton, and maybe Simmons, or Kerfoot, Thornton, and VC, or maybe Kerfoot as a centerman with Robertson and McKayev, and like who knows? There's a bunch of combinations, right? But as of right now, this is what I want to see, and this is what I could see happening. Again, maybe you switch Marner and Nylander, and then slide Kerfoot down, or switch Kerfoot with McKayev. There's a bunch of options. Right now, I think Robertson will start with the Leafs. I think if he's not going to go to the World Juniors, which right now it's rumored he might not go, then he's going to have an opportunity to make the Leafs out of camp. And VC has a star next to him, and I'm going to explain why. Because maybe VC's not in this lineup. Maybe he's scratched. Because if Spezza is your extra guy with Simmons on that fourth line, maybe they're rolling in and out of lines because you're running 7 defensemen. And that's kind of the rumor right now. Obviously, for the coaching staff, for Sheldon Keefe, they know there's been a huge defensive problem, and for Dubas, he has talked about 7 defensemen, and they signed Bogosian, I think, for that reason. You can have Riley Brody, Muzzin Hall, Lettinen, Dermott, and Bogosian as that penalty kill specialist and the guy that can help on tougher matchups. I think he provides, obviously, that huge presence, that physical presence. And you know what? And I actually just want to come back on screen just to say this. If Marincin is as far from the lineup as possible with Bogosian there, then it works out for me. Like, I think keep Marincin away and Bogosian in there keeps it that way. So, obviously for Bogosian, huge penalty killer, and Riley won't have to penalty kill either if Bogosian's in the picture. You can have a top penalty kill unit of Muzzin Brody or Muzzin Hall, and then Brody Bogosian, right? And that's where it kind of gets to my next point. I think you can be a little flexible with it. And I've talked to some people. I wouldn't mind seeing a pairing to start of Riley Hall and have Muzzin Brody getting tough matchups. Muzzin Brody, for me, would be very comparable to what we saw in Calgary with Giordano and Brody. And that's where I think it could be very successful, seeing Muzzin and Brody playing the best lines in hockey, playing against those top lines of McDavid, or in Vancouver with Pettersson, Calgary, Monahan, and Gaudreau. I think Muzzin and Brody would be able to shut those lines down great. And I think Riley and Hall would be able to get the easier matchups, and you would see Riley put up some numbers. And then obviously be on that top power play unit. So that's what I like. And then obviously Anderson, Campbell, I think that is no debate. You got Dell waiting in the wings. But yeah, back to the defense. I think Lettinen and Dermott are going to get a great opportunity. And I'll make my Seattle Part 2 mock predictions. But Dermott has really got to prove himself to make the Leafs make a tough decision with him. So that's something else to keep an eye on. Dermott, this is going to be a huge year, a huge defining year for Dermott as a Toronto Maple Leaf. And then just your extras and your taxi squad. So Barabanov could make this Leafs roster. He's another guy that's in there. And Engvall as well. They signed him to an extension, 1.25 per So they expect him to be an NHLer, but he could be scratched. He could be that extra guy. And obviously they brought in Joey Anderson in the trade from New Jersey for Andreas Johnsson, and then Boyd in there, Calle Rosen, maybe Marincin, but I'm hoping Marincin is just going to stay in the AHL and then move on, and then Aaron Dell. Big question marks for this team. Rasmus Sandin, I think he's a huge question mark because right now for me, I think he could be ready for the NHL, but it's a little crowded. And I do think they might start him in the AHL. They might start Liljegren in the AHL and just see those guys develop more. Korshkov's the guy that he's on loan right now. Maybe he just stays overseas for the rest of the season, and then maybe he comes over and plays some games or plays in the AHL. Same thing with Maligan. I think he's shown that he has a lot of potential. He's getting into those mid-20s. Like, I think Maligan has something there. He's undersized. I just don't know if he's the best fit with the Leafs. Like, I feel like he'd be a guy that needs to move up in the lineup. He's not a guy that you can see on your fourth line, just in terms of his style. So let me know what you think. I think there's a lot of options here for the Leafs, but right now when I look at that forward group, I'm pretty excited about it. And I think if you talk about the power play unit, it's going to go back to what it was, except now Riley's going to be that consistent number one guy. So you'll have Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, Marner, and Riley. The one thing I'll say, and maybe the Leafs consider this, is to spread out the power play. Sometimes it was struggling, and I think maybe you can have Matthews and Marner running consistently throughout the whole power play and spread it out. So just to throw out an example, you have Matthews, Marner, Tavares, maybe Thornton, and Riley. And then you go to the next guy, maybe you keep Riley on, or you could go Brody, or you could go Muzzin. And then you bring in Nylander into the picture, you keep Matthews and Marner, and then maybe you bring in Nick Robertson. Obviously, it depends there, or maybe Tavares and Thornton are separated, so Thornton comes in the second unit, maybe Robertson's on the top unit with Nylander, Matthews, and Marner. There's a bunch of options, right? But I think for the Leafs perspective, and you also have Kerfoot as an option, you have options where guys can come into a first power play and bring in Nylander fresh for the second half, but keep Matthews and Marner on, or keep Matthews on for the whole duration of the 2-minute power play. I think the Leafs should take advantage of that. We saw Matthews staying on for a lot of the power play last year, and I think they should do that more with both Matthews and Marner, or Matthews and Tavares, and just get a whole power play unit going and not necessarily have that whole kind of, I would say, priority on that top unit where you could spread it out a little bit and get Nick Robertson maybe going, or get Joe Thornton involved, get Kerfoot involved. Hyman, I mean, he's shown that he can be a presence even in front of the net on the second unit. So there's potential there, and I think for the penalty kill, you're going to see Hyman involved, Tavares involved, Marner involved, and then obviously you have a fourth guy coming in. There's so many different options. You could have Simmons in there. I know even Spezza could kill penalties. So you have options there, right? And I think the Leafs have definitely balanced themselves. They've brought in some experience with Thornton and Simmons. Brody is obviously a huge addition. I think a lot of people will agree. I think one more defenseman would probably make this team very complete, and one more physical guy up front. And I would be very confident. I am confident in this team, but I think they are probably missing two elements. But we've seen teams without big pieces, and I look at the Penguins when they had no defense. They had a lot of injuries, and they still won a cup. We'll see what happens with this team, but thank you so much. I don't want to ramble on. Please subscribe if you're new. Smash that like button. I hope to see you more. Leave a comment what you want for videos going forward. I hope you give this channel a chance. A lot of streams coming. World Juniors, new season. Canadian Division is going to be a lot of fun. All the new divisions. And we'll see when the season starts. But this was the Leafs lineup prediction. More lineup predictions to come. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Have a good one. Peace out.